Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up for you today. 20 million moved off of ETH and onto the ledger. We're going to talk about what it was, and it's never been done before. Can Ripple sell to institutions? We're going to clear up that answer. And SEC officials remark on the Ripple case ending. You're going to love it. And now you're going to love this. XRP's got new price targets, and they're a lot higher. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It is a $4.07 trillion market cap for crypto. The market's up 0.1%. More importantly, we're back across that $4 trillion mark. Bitcoin 119,000 plus, Ethereum 4,400 plus. It's screaming right now. XRP is 319. Now we're off 0.6 on the 24, but we're up 5% on the 7-day. Let's look at the range of price here. Don't forget, you can follow us on X, YouTube, and DigPerspectives.com. It's ranging between XRP prices ranging between 311 and 323. We'll keep an eye on it. Look, this market is getting ready to explode. I think we all know that, but this is a very scary realization about this space because we're dealing with digital information, things you can put on a drive or a thumbnail or in a folder. And there's at least, as far as Atlas21.com is concerned, at least one kidnapping per week among Bitcoin investors, says crypto executive. Now, what I have to say about this is it's just a reminder. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but I'm just trying to remind you of the dangers out here of self-custody. I'm not saying you should not self-custody. I'm just saying if you do, make sure that if you were, God forbid, in a situation like this, that it could not cost you your fortune or portfolio. And I tell you, one of the ways I help protect myself is right here with Caleb and Brown Crypto Brokerage. This is, look, no more worrying if I've been hacked, if my transfers went through, or if I set my market orders correctly. With Caleb and Brown, I finally have institutional grade custody for my XRP and a real person I can speak with anytime I need support. And that's the truth. They've completely eliminated the fear of losing my assets or struggling with self-custody. Caleb and Brown is redefining what service should look like for everyday investors. This is a total game changer. That's why DAI and myself have come together with Caleb and Brown to do this, so you can open your free account too. All you got to do is go to xrpwealth589.com and sign up today and get started. You're going to find out that that human customer service is really, really key and very important because you can't find it at that level anywhere else in this industry. And that's a fact, Jack. You let me know if you do. And the other part of this is that it's setting those market orders correctly. We know exchanges freeze up. Well, you'll never miss an entry or an exit again because you can call and set those with your prime broker, and then you can get back to being with your family. Get your time back. Look, I don't want to be in front of a computer trying to watch for a trade and see if I caught it right at the right time. No one catches the bottom. No one catches the absolute top. And I don't even know how to set market orders correctly myself. So the fact that I can pick up the phone and I could set a meeting and talk to a representative and tell the prime broker, listen, I want X amount and I want you to sell it by 10 bucks or whatever that number is. You could come up with your own scenario. And then I can go back to my life. And I don't have to worry about anything else. They have multiple layers of security. They have abilities for you to personalize your account with restrictions if you'd like to. So just know that and get started today because this market is something to note. And it is a lot of danger out here. There's a lot of bottom feeders out here. And I don't want to see anybody get themselves hung up. For myself, I don't self-custody because I do have a public image with the channel. So that doesn't make sense for me and my family. And to go beyond that, I don't keep anything crypto at my house. That's the God's honest truth. I've come up with a system that separates where my passwords are, my private keys. They're not in my home. I keep that stuff locked away. I have lawyers. I have bank accounts. I have safe deposit boxes. There's all kinds of ways you can protect yourself. So start putting together a plan that makes sure you're the only one that is spending and has access to your fortune to come. So there you have it. Now, we heard this clip very short here. Jamie Dimon's crew, JP Morgan, knows that trillions are about to come into this space.
Trillions of dollars in assets under management, and registered reps all over the country, financial advisors, can now put people in Bitcoin. We knew it was going to make it go up.
Yeah, they knew it, and the whole time they had Jamie Dimon out here calling it a pet rock because they talking that book. But who's offering it now? The same people that called it a pet rock. Now, here's a very, very interesting scenario here. This is Vitalik Buterin saying something that is absolutely true. He's talking about people putting digital assets in their corporate treasury. I want you to listen to what he says.
The social aspect of coordinating around ETH just being an asset that companies can have as part of their treasury is good and valuable, and like giving having different vehicles for people to have access to ETH, which is I think one of the reasons why like people are buying into treasury companies instead of just hodling ETH directly is also good, right? Like giving people more options is good. There's always people in all kinds of different financial circumstances that put all kinds of like requirements or incentives or properties on like what formats of things that they participate in. And so, I think there's definitely very valuable services that are being provided there. And like if you woke me up 3 years from now and told me that treasuries led to the downfall of ETH, then of course my guess for why would basically be that somehow they turned into an over leverage game, and then at some point like they a 30% drop turned into forced liquidations that turned into a 50% drop, and then a 70 and 90% drop, and then that got compounded with a loss of credibility. And
oh, look, he's not cheering anymore.
But I think the people in Ethereum in general, even including the people doing finance in Ethereum, are responsible people. Like, these are not Duke One followers that we're talking about. And
no, but you are the person who took money from CCP China, so don't go breaking out the anointing oils just yet there, Vitalik. This is a very real possibility for corporate treasuries adding digital assets that either don't have utility a la Bitcoin or a network like Ethereum that has high gas fees. Head on a swivel. These corporate treasuries catch themselves in a 70 to 90% downswing like we've seen in the history of crypto. It could devastate companies. If they borrow against it at the high, and then they start getting liquidated as it drops, it's a problem. Take a look right here. Here's signs. Now, maybe this is a sign of what I believe. The reason that there was a bridge built to the Ethereum network from the XRP ledger to begin with was so that we could see that mass exodus and the developers start to realize just how hard it is to build on Ethereum and say, you know what, I'm packing my stuff and heading over to the ledger. Zach Rector highlights here, a shout out and courtesy of Vet XO, who's amazing, was on stage, interviewed David Schwartz on stage at XRP Las Vegas. Shout out to you, Vet. Ripple just moved 20 million real USD from Ethereum to the XRP ledger. Shout out to Vet XO for the real USD tracker. You damn right. And that is something that wasn't possible not long ago, but now it is. And I think for too long, I think Ethereum will be like the AOL network. You'll see ERC20 tokens that were built on Ethereum, and then everybody else will flee that network, and you'll still see those ERC20 tokens because it's easy to do. But the reality is that it'll be like AOL. AOL will be gone, but you'll still have people who have AOL email handles, right? That's where that's going. Trust, ease, scale, the playbook for payments. Visa's CEO embracing stablecoins.
Jim, payments, you need three things. You need trust, you need ease of use, and you need scale. And the reason why we have close to 5 billion Visa credentials around the world, the reason why we have 14 billion Visa tokens around the world, and the reason why 150 million merchants around the world depend on Visa to grow their businesses is because nobody does that better than Visa. And if stablecoins become a mode of currency that people want to embrace around the world, we will enable that on the Visa system and scale that to those billions of endpoints. That's what you need to do well in payments. That's what Visa does better than anybody in the world.
Wow.
Jim, payments, you need three things. You need trust.
All right, let's stop that right there. You know, that's powerful, powerful statements. Now, remember, Visa bought Earthport, and then I think Currency Cloud too, but they certainly bought Earthport going back in, what, 2019, 2020 timeframe, something like that. That is a confident CEO right there, because he knows he has a plan in place, and I think he understands it's not going to be hurtful to their business model. But this may be. You know, listen to what this guy says here. It makes a lot of sense, and we talked about it too. Take a listen.
Unlike our competitor, we have no long-term rev share deal with any of our distribution partner.
This is Liberty Financial.
So while we're only 1/30th the market cap of Circle, we are already far more profitable than they are. Now, that's because Circle and Coinbase made a deal a long time ago that Coinbase gets 60% of the revenue that comes from Circle, regardless of what happens in perpetuity. USD1 is completely chain and distribution partner agnostic. So all of the listings, all of the Binance listings and all the other exchange listings that we have was earned business, whereas Circle pays for play. Because Circle is owned by Coinbase, other exchanges don't want to work with them. They're being paid to work with them. But they view working with Circle as doing a deal with the devil because they're directly supporting their competitor.
What do you really think?
He thinks the truth, Andrew, which is something you're not too familiar with. Taking a look at this, Circle has a profit problem, and it's a little company called Coinbase. Now, the problems really start with the interest rates cuts that are coming and other exchanges not wanting to support a competitor indirectly through USDC. If you know, you know. I literally just put this out yesterday, and it's not the first time we've talked about it. When I said fast forward, Ripple gets a national banking charter and a Federal Reserve master account. The Fed is shut out of the new digital on-chain economy because they can't release a stable coin or a U.S. digital dollar, which is why I firmly believe that Ripple is Fed of the 2.0 new monetary system. Circle and Ripple, let's say, get that banking license, but Circle splits 50% of profits with Coinbase. Correction, I was wrong. It's 60%, even more to my point. President gets the interest rate cuts that he needs to refi the U.S. debt. Every stablecoin issuer takes a hit on the shrinking profit margin because of those interest rate cuts. But. Circle still has to split the 60% of the new crushed margin that they have with their fellow Coinbase people. So real question is will Circle, even with its recent amazing IPO, be able to survive the interest rate cuts having to split 60% of the profit with Coinbase? Tell me how Ripple isn't the Fed 2.0. I'm telling you, there's an opportunity in a window here where we may see Ripple still acquire Circle. Write that down. That could happen. And just to clear this up, I've gotten a few messages here, and shout out to Abs from Good Morning Crypto. Shout out to Johnny and the whole crew over there. Can Ripple sell XRP directly to institutions inside the United States? He said, I'll use my phone a friend, Freddie Riz. Shout out to Freddie Rispoli, boy. This guy, I like this guy. I like Freddie. He's a great guy. The answer is yes, Ripple can sell XRP directly to institutions in the U.S., but only if it complies with the securities laws by either registering the sales with the SEC or using a valid exemption, such as a Reg D. So there you have it. And that's why I believe, as I've said, Stuart Alderati used the term historic institutional sales when he discussed it, because the sales in the case only went to 2018. David Schwartz highlights here, he says, I say, what a simply super day. Yes, and that's based on the comment here from Hester Peirce. Last week, the SEC case against Ripple was finally laid to rest. A welcome development for many reasons, including that minds once occupied with litigation now can concentrate on creating a clear regulatory framework for crypto. And then we saw Paul Atkins respond here in kind, that current SEC chair, who I think is doing an amazing job, along with Hester Peirce. Commissioner Peirce is right. With this chapter closed, we now have an opportunity to shift our energy from the courtroom to policy drafting table. Love this. Our focus should be on building a clear regulatory framework that fosters innovation while protecting investors. Stuart Alderati chimes in and says, thank you for your leadership in moving America towards clear rules of the road for crypto, Chair Atkins. And I say absolutely ditto on that, on all fronts. And here is SEC Chair Atkins.
The one great thing about this is that for the first time now, the United States government has put its stamp of approval on a very key and important, potentially very important digital asset that will, I think, help to lower costs, lower risks in the market, because we can now move towards an instantaneous almost settlement of payment versus delivery for securities, thanks to all the one.
I love this. I love this. And guess what? Someone here, XTNRP, caught the idea that Brad Garlinghouse loved it too and reposted it. So shout out to him and shout out to her for finding that here. Look, it's all super bullish from my house, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I've got to say about it. Now let's take a look at this. Egrad Crypto puts this out here yesterday. And he basically said here, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Well, you know what? Take a look at it. Here is that line of resistance going across here. 1, 2, 3 touches, and then boom, we get above it, and that resistance becomes support. And then we take a look at this trend line touching across here. 1, 2, 3, and running where it is. And now that we're above it, now we're inside this channel here, which is pointing to like a, 20, maybe even more. If we get above and blow through that top, we could have a blow off top on that, right? That could take us into that 30 plus. Well, interestingly enough, looky here. Macro strategist Gert Van Lagen says XRP is ready to rip and sets $34 as first target. As 7-year double bottom retest completes. How about that one? I say, I don't know about you, but I've got room on my bingo card for a $34 XRP. Daddy needs a new pair of sneakers. You know what I mean? Oh my goodness. You guys are a lot of fun. And then Chad Steingraber comes in. So now you have this, analyst, and we know that we've seen Egrad Crypto cite the potential to get a $30+ XRP as well. We see here Gert Van Lagen now suggesting that, and he's suggesting it in a hard run, just like back here in 2017, 2018, we could see that happen. And obviously a retrace too, and sell-offs in between. You can see these, look, up, back, up, back, up, back, right? So, it's not, that straight shot's not always just a straight shot, as you can see here, right, in 2017, 2018, so in other places. But nonetheless, thinking of a $34 XRP, then Chad Steingraber makes this mention. He says, XRP right now, to be number 2, and it would need to be $9.45. To be number 1, it needs to be $40.95. And with the understanding that we could see a $34 XRP, and it only takes 40 to pass Bitcoin, well, maybe we know now why Bitcoin maxis are so scared. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. We're going into the freedom zone, ladies and gentlemen. And I tell you what, you're not going to want to miss it today. We're going to talk about technocratic feudalism. We're living in it. Corporate colonialism. And some other words that rhyme with gymnasium too. I hope you'll join us. You could join us in the freedom zone. All you got to do is click the join button underneath the video. You could join us on YouTube in the Freedom Zone, or in the Patreon, or on X. It's the same price, same perks. It costs almost nothing to be a part of it. Great way to support the channel here. And we're super grateful for each and every one of you. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. And no Google ads every day. All your daily videos with 0 Google ads. That in itself is worth the price of admission. We're going in there right now, and I hope you will join us. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. Come on in.